my fellow media colleagues for invitation. This is not our usual time, but due to some other situation, and led to us starting at this time. I'd like to, because it's a media-related issue, therefore our colleague today, the book of condolence is spoken today as the president of Liberia, otherwise as a media house, the Ministry of Information, so that we can use this occasion to announce that the book of condolence for Fidelity, the former station manager for Atlantic Broadcasting Corporation, is open and PAL as we speak. We believe the acting minister and our rate of government officials from here will go there on behalf of the government. Fine. I'd like to invite the Deputy Minister for Technical Services and the incoming Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs. Mr. Sando has then officially confirmed the Liberian Senate, but has not taken office as the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs. So I will still title him as the Deputy Minister for Technical Affairs, who have the oversight responsibility on the press conference, who will come and make his introductory comment, after which we will officially introduce to you our guest, Mr. Sando.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. We again are grateful to have all of you here in the historic Charles Bayon conference room to do the job that we are here to do. The MEGA regular press briefing is pleased to have you here. Today we have Mr. Richard Gafuan. Mr. Richard Gafuan is the Director General of the Liberia Institute for Statistics and Geoinformation Services. This is the first time here. I'm sure he's here to share some very important updates with you. The Statistics House is a very important area. We are happy to have Mr. Richard Gafuan. When he mounts the podium, he will accordingly introduce his colleagues who accompany him here. We like to recognize Mr. Johnny Takwa, the IT Minister of Information, my colleague Matthew Yimpu, Assistant Minister for Media Services. Before we invite Mr. Gafuan to the podium, I'd like to speak on two issues. As you may be aware, President Bouaka and a number of officials of government arrived in Canada, where they are to attend an investment forum for Liberia. It's important to note that the forum is happening today in Toronto, Canada. It is organized by the National Investment Commission and the Liberia International Business Group, a group called the QE24 Group of Companies, which also operates in Canada. would like to add that the President and his team departed the country on Tuesday evening and are expected back in early October. These forums, similar to recent one that was held in China, are intended to showcase Liberia as an attractive destination for investment. Government alone cannot develop Liberia. The government counts on the support of local and international investors to help our efforts provide our people with the needed jobs they need to make a decent living. And the message that our president is taking across the world at these various investment forums is that Liberia has enormous potential in a variety of sectors, including energy, tourism and hospitality, agriculture and education, among others. The President's message is clear that the general business environment in Liberia is good and healthy, that investors should come to Liberia. This is a message the team is promoting at the Liberia Investment Forum in Canada. From Canada, our President, Excellency Joseph Boakai, and his team will head to the United States to attend the UN General Assembly on tomorrow, Friday, where the President is expected to address that war valley for the first time as President of the Republic of Liberia. The President before has addressed for a couple of times when he was Vice President to former President Salih, but this time will be the first appearance at the UN General Assembly in his capacity as President of Liberia. As a government, we are particularly excited about the President's address this year, the 79th section of the United Nations General Assembly. As we all know, Liberia is a huge beneficiary of the UN's goodwill. During the years of our civil war, the UN and the war spent billions of dollars. Countless number of lives were lost in the effort to restore sanctity, peace, and dignity to our country. In a few years after our own civil war, Liberia has become a contributor to the United Nations peacekeeping efforts around the world. Important to note that a Liberian contingent was deployed in Mali. We are always ready to advance world peace. This is the reason why we are excited that this year Liberia is lobbying on the world stage for a non-permanent seat at the level of the United Nations Security Council. The seat will further solidify our international stature as a respected member of the global community, committed to the ideals of the United Nations and committed to advancing world peace and security. The President will also be sending a message of hope that Liberia is becoming a strong democratic nation, guided by the rule of law, and that the world can count on us. From the United Nations, President Boakai and his team, entourage, will head to the Republic of France for another engagement on his way back home. He will continue provide the public and our media friends with activities of the president while he's abroad and during the period of his stay abroad. We'll update you accordingly on every activity the president will undertake. That being said, let me now conclude by saying that the government would like to clarify that policy statements express presidential visions are not personal promises, as some civil society groups have the Liberian people believe. I show you all follow the news and their efforts by some civil society organizations to paint a distorted picture of the progress that the government continues to make. When President WATCH-MICAT makes a declaration that he will or we must achieve this, he is rallying the nation around a cause, and such a statement cannot be construed as a personal promise made by him. Rallies the nation around a cause, he summons the resources and powers of the state as its leaders. He does not make a personal or private promise. The statement he makes as such cannot be used to evaluate him as a person or the government capacity to deliver. President WATCH-MICAT and the government's capacity and effectiveness to deliver must be evaluated based on the arrest agenda for inclusive development, and not any other so-called statement or declaration that has been attributed to the government. In our country, there appears to be a trend towards negativity against the image of the government. People come across as presenting the government as lacking focus and productivity. And we must see a persistent trend of this kind of negativity in media reportage recently. Media headlines today I consumed with the report that a civil society group that President WATCH-MICAT has fulfilled just 3% of the 119 promises he made to the people of that. The government want to be clear that President WATCH-MICAT did not make 119 promises to the people. The president made policy and vision statements. His vision for the country is reflected in the arrest agenda for inclusive development. The arrest agenda is being fully developed into the National Development Plan for Liberia. We all know that. The Ministry of Finance is leading that effort. The plan is still being developed. So anyone who says they are evaluating President WATCH-MICAT based on some imagined 119 promises is already starting on the wrong footing. President WATCH-MICAT did not make no such 119 promises, and so he cannot be held to someone else's imagination. To describe policy and vision statement as promises is misleading and deliberately deceptive. When candidates vying for president launch their bid to lead a country, they express a forward-looking vision, an imagined future in which they want to see the country. They see a present difficulty and declare that difficulty can be solved. Things can be done in a different way when you, the people, gave, according to the candidate, gave me the chance to take the mantle of authority. In the case of President WATCH-MICAT, that happened. Such statements are not personal promises. These are policy and vision statements. And to describe them as personal promises is to deliberately mislead the people and project the government and the president in a negative picture. It is important to emphasize that this very civil society group in question some time ago released another report on the president's 100-day delivery. And then it declared the last time that a deliverable of the Ministry of Youth and Sport, then the county meets, have been completed. And the indicator of the completion of this deliverable was that a date had been set for the county meet. Interestingly, the county meet was already concluded on May 5th. The group's report was released on May 13th. So that tells you how inaccurate this group could be. So the group is always inaccurate in what they do, and because we believe that they have some donor pressure to somehow be seen as they are working and delivering, they have to release all kinds of empty reports, no substance, just to convince their donor partners. And because some media institutions have got some vested interests in painting the government in a negative picture, they run with empty reports without seeking to validate how substantive these reports can be. To evaluate someone based on said suggestion or imagination, you have to be able to balance the group, the list promises as government. We do not consider these statements promises. They are visions and policy statements about the direction in which we want to take this country, and we have been very clear about that. The government has been very clear about where we intend to take Liberia. That's why the president has invested time and energy in ensuring that the arrested general can be developed into a full-blown national development plan to lead our country, to direct the course of our country. So if you want to evaluate the country, the person, why should somebody even be seeking to evaluate government in 8 months? That also suggests that they are under pressure. The president, the report on the president 100 days was released. They will also have a formal. When the actual report was released, all of the assumptions that they made would not be validated because the accounts of the president 100 days were very detailed and it lays out everything that the government achieved by then. Any group that's interested in raising the government, we urge them to wait for the full completion of the arrest agenda. It is the arrest agenda that will lay out what we intend to do for the country and how we intend to achieve it. When that document is adopted by the cabinet, implementation begins, you can hold us accountable. In the absence of that, we do not take responsibility for whatever imagined pieces of paper that you run around quarterly reports or promises of the government. It doesn't represent us. And we have said it repeatedly. When you look at the comprehensive report on the president 100 days, everything that the president promised to do in the first 100 days are laid out there. And as a government, we're very clear. Regardless of the challenges we have in terms of resource constraint with the back and forth with the national budget and the legislatures, we lay out what the government achieved in the first 100 days. We can't deceive the public. So we also urge people who are civil society actors not to be carried over by donor pressure because you want to justify the funding you're getting from somewhere. You just put a report to paint a negative picture. We have an obligation. We have an obligation to be true. If you want to watch the activities of the government, you want to be critical of the government, you also have to be critical of what you put out there. Because you can't be just loose and operating like, the space is open and you can put up anything. There are people looking at you. We are concerned about the image of the government. To talk to Middle's point, and I did conclude by saying that we cannot pin the performances of the government on President Ouattara as a person. The government has 3 branches. The legislature has a role to play, the executive has a role to play, the fact that all of these fictitious reports that this suicide organization has released is just targeted towards the president, suggests that they have a motive to continuously paint a negative picture of the president. The president is the head of government, but he does not run the government unilaterally. There are three branches of government, and we will encourage our friends in the media, civil society partners to also focus events on all aspects of the government, all branches of the government, because everybody has a role to play. I thought it was important for us to clarify, we do not want as a government to kind of holding back on some of this because it's important. Our international partners are watching. So for the record, no 119 pharmacists, they are all imagine, they don't represent the government. If you want to evaluate the government headed by President Bouaka, have to do so on the arrest agenda. Sometimes we want to challenge the civil society organization, challenge the media. The arrest agenda for inclusive development is being formulated. How many are following the process? It's a national development tool that the government is formulating. It is good that you follow it. Some of the consultations are ongoing across the country. We want you to follow it and report on it, so that people can know that the government hasn't run the vacuum. That we bring broad consultation on the formulation of this plan. It's going to be a 5-year plan. We're hoping that by the end of this year, it will be concluded. When it's adopted by the cabinet, then we can begin to say, here is what we are holding the government up to. But in just 8 months, we release a report that does not have any detailed explanation of what we're talking about evaluation. I think it is far-fetched and misleading, and we'll talk about this point. That being said, let me now invite Mr. Gafwan to the podium. Mr. Gafwan will make his presentation. Following his presentation, we'll give you the opportunity to interact with him, and then we will shut down this press briefing for the week to resume next week. Mr. Gafwan, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister Daniel Sando and Deputy Minister Opan, members of the full estate, Deputy Director General Mr. Johnson Q. Carr, and Deputy Director General of H.M. Suni, fellow Liberians. May I first and foremost extend my deepest sympathy to members of the folk estate, especially on the passing of Brother H.M. I want to extend my condolences to his wife, to his mom, and the entire family. Today, we will be basically discussing two basic issues. We'll be looking at major data emanating from messages, and we'll be talking about our key activities at the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services. There are three major statistical areas that we are going to concentrate on today. We're going to concentrate on releasing the preliminary results for the Liberia Agricultural Census, which was conducted from January to March of 2023. We'll be looking at inflationary trends and patterns from January to June to July of 2024. We'll also look at external trade statistics. In terms of the recently conducted agricultural census, a total of 359,056 agricultural households were covered during the agricultural census. The census was conducted, as I said, from January 2024 to March 2024. What were the key findings? Liberia has 338,630 agricultural households, concentrated primarily in 3 counties, with Nema County accounting for the highest proportion of persons in agricultural households. That is 21.4%, followed by Bond County, which is 63.7%. Lofa is 12.7%. Notably, 64.5% of these households are male-headed households. That is, household headed by males. The agricultural population exceeds 1 million in Liberia. That is, of the total population, the number of persons engaged in agricultural activity exceeds 1 million, with 499,000 farmers, averaging 2 farmers per household, and an average household size of 4. That is, agricultural household has an average number of persons to be 4 persons per household. 99% of agricultural households are engaged in crop cultivation. Usually we have crop cultivation, we have animal husbandry, and from the results we collected from the field, 99% of agricultural households were engaged in crop cultivation, with rice being the most cultivated crop in Liberia, grown by 56.3% of households, followed by cassava, that is 45.9%. Poultry and livestock rearing are less common practices in Liberia. Only 8.1% of the households reported raising poultry, and 6% reported livestock rearing. Approximately 72.9% of agricultural households hire external labor, with the preference for male workers. Child labor in crop production is notably more prevalent in Granville and Lofa counties. Fertilizer use is limited, with just 11.3% of households reporting its use, with a higher concentration in Monserrate County. The vast majority of agricultural tools are manually operated, with 87.2% of households using hand hoes and 94.1% using cutlasses. The use of power or machine power equipment remains minimal. We go to inflationary trends from January to August 2024, and the inflationary trend from January to August 2024 will be compared to the same period from January to August 2023. The annual averages from January to July 2024, the average inflation rate stood at 7.4%, reflecting a notable decrease compared to 9.9% average recorded during the same period in 2023. This decline signals positive progress over the past year. Observations. The inflation trend for 2024 shows a significant downward trajectory starting in May, with rates consistently lower than those observed in 2023. The most pronounced reductions occurred in May, June, and July 2024, where inflation dropped by over 5 percentage points compared to the same period or the same months in 2023. The downward shifts suggest that inflationary pressures have eased considerably throughout the May months of 2024. And I know you will ask me what are the reasons. One of the major factors for this is the decline or the reduction in global oil prices across the world. And other factors will be relative to tighter monetary policies that are being instituted by the Central Bank of Liberia. Now we look to external trade statistics. For external trade statistics, we'll be looking at the volume of trade. We'll be looking at the total exports, total imports, and the balance of trade. From January to August 2024, Liberia total trade amounted to $1.9 billion United States dollars, consisting of US $735.6 million in exports and $1.15 billion in imports. The country recorded a trade deficit of $411 million, highlighting that imports continue to outpace exports during this period. We go on talking about month-by-month measures, but because of time, we will just go to the key trading partners. Top export destination, the top countries that will export our commodities to. Germany received the largest share of exports, that is $458 million United States dollars. Switzerland followed with $224 million US dollars. The US or United States ranked third with $121 million US dollars. Additional export destinations include the United Kingdom, that is $20.3 million, and Belgium, $13.7 million. Top import sources. And some will wonder, I'm sure there will be questions from this. Cote d'Ivoire was the largest source of imports, with $167.6 million in goods. India followed with $125 million, with Togo accounting for $104 million. Other key import partners include China, $19.8 million, and the United States, $14.3 million. Top imported products. So when you're looking at the top countries where Liberia is importing our products from, you look at the products. The major product happens to be petroleum product. So a lot of the products coming from Cote d'Ivoire refers to petroleum products, which amounts to, in terms of our total petroleum imports during the period, was $278.8 million US dollars. Rice was another major import, which accounted for $134.7 million spent on the importation of rice. Other significant imports included electric machinery, $29.9 million, machines for data reception and transmission, that is $21.5 million, and diesel powered vehicles and cylinder capacity, that is $20.8 million. Top exported products, the product that we export. Gold bullion dominated exports. So majority of when we're talking about Germany being the highest destination country in terms of exports, the product going to Germany happens to be basically gold. And total gold export amounted to $476.5 million US dollars. Natural rubber, technically specified, that is accounted for $102.5 million in exports. Iron ore concentrates were also significant, with exports of $96.7 million US dollars. Additional key exports include palm oil, which is $20.5 million, diamonds $13.6 million. Those are the key results in terms of major data we collected from January to July of this year. So let me go down to other key updates. When we took over from Leslie's, one of our key concerns happened to be building the capacity of building the statistical capacity of Leslie's, and also ensuring that the national statistical system is is equipped in order to be able to collect, to process, to analyze, and to disseminate data. Because of this, we have embarked upon the process of ensuring that we train staff of villages in various fields: demography, statistics, geoinformatics, data science. So we will be sending a total of 20 villages staff this year for master's degree in various fields just mentioned. 20. Tomorrow we will be having a set-up program in which we are expecting the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, the President of Jeremiah Plantain, to be at the program, which is at the Monrovia City Hall. We'll be having a set-up program. Apart from the 20 village staff that we are hoping to be sending, we have an additional of 9 staff of the University of Liberia Mathematics Department who will be going also for master's degree and a PhD at the University of Botswana to pursue studies in statistics. Because we know that if we must transform our country, if we must make sure that we can track the deliverables and the major indicators of the arrest agenda for inclusive development, this cannot be done in the absence of trained manpower, especially in villages and in the general statistical system. When we talk about the statistical system, we are talking about agencies that are producing data. So this is a major landmark effort, honorable ministers, in terms of what we are going to do, because we are talking about a total of 29 persons. Apart from those 29 persons, we initially sent a total of 3 persons, one to India to do data science, 2 to India, and another went to Malawi to do statistics. Because I joined this in 2007 as a young student from the Obafemi Awolowo University from Nigeria. When we did the 2008 census, I was sent as the first staff of villages to pursue masters in demography. We were 3 presidents. So the burden rests upon us, not just to receive education and just sit back, but to ensure that similar venture, similar goodwill that was done for us to build our capacity, to make us to be able to stand here today, we should do the same for our people. And this scholarship will be mainly coming with funding from the Harmonizing and Improving Statistics in West Africa project, which is in collaboration with the World Bank. Apart from this, we have done several things. I just read data on inflation rates. We have ensured that we have monthly estimates for consumer price index indicators, which leads to the computation of monthly inflation. We have updated the basket of commodities that should be used to do these computations. We have monthly data on inputs and exports. They are available. We have succeeded in ensuring that we update the latest website, but the website will go through a comprehensive update, and because we want to ensure that Leslie is the central repository of data in Liberia. Meaning, when Ministry of Health or the Health Management Information System, the Ministry of Education that is about to conduct the annual school census, but now we are collaborating with the Ministry of Agriculture to do the comprehensive food security and nutrition survey. That all these databases will feed into the central database of districts. But this is how it should be, and this is the way to go. We also inherited an infrastructure and legislation that Obviously, any journalist would observe that this is at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, or the facility, especially the metallic or structures on the building prone to corrosion. So we are embarking upon the renovation process of villages, because you cannot have people working in an environment that is ramshackle, because if you train people and if you have people that will produce all these data on a timely basis, they need to be in an environment that is conducive. So we are working on that, and between now and the close of this year, we can improve the overall structure of the environment to make the place conducive. We are embarking upon coordination with ministries and agencies, especially those ministries and agencies, as I previously stated, that are within the National Statistical System. Recently, we collaborated with the Liberia Immigration Service. We contributed electronic gadgets for the capture of data, of migration-related data at the land borders. We will augment the amount of mobile data collection tools that we gave to the Liberia Immigration Service, because we want to ensure that data collection at our various land borders that are prone to be porous can be collected on a timely basis and can be collected in a quality fashion. We currently have an updated sampling frame, but we are working on trying to ensure that the national sampling frame will be representative of the entire country. We are in current discussions with our GIS team to be able to conduct a remapping of all the streets and highways in our country, so that the streets and the highways in Liberia can be, the names of those streets can be reflected on Google Map. Because we go in all places, you can, especially for those who want to use Google Map for navigation or for Uber services, we need to accurately see that the names of those locations are on the map. So we'll work, especially with the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications. We have had initial discussions with regards to that, and we hope to, as soon as all the technical details are done, we'll be able to dispatch the team of trained mappers across the country. Legis is currently embarking on some other data collection efforts. We are currently in the process of doing a follow-up agriculture survey, because after the census, we usually do a follow-up survey. So we'll be doing a nationwide agriculture survey, which is part of the Food and Agriculture Organization 50 by 2030 agenda, because the 50 by 2030 agenda is meant to ensure that 50 nations, including Liberia, by 2030 will be able to fill essential data gaps in agriculture. So we are thankful that through the support of the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Bank, we are embarking upon these ventures. We are about to do a nationwide household income and expenditure survey. We're talking about the arrest agenda for inclusive development. Most of the salient indicators, especially when it comes to household poverty, multidimensional poverty, labor market indicators, most of these measures would mainly be computed and collected in the nationwide household income and expenditure survey. This survey will be collected all across the country, and we hope to be able to recruit trained individuals, because business cannot and should not be in the process of collecting data that is questionable. So one of the first mechanisms to ensure data quality is to also ensure the quality of personnel that are recruited to work on our data collection schemes. And we will ensure that the best of our citizens are recruited across the country. We'll be doing the training very soon. There will be a big announcement for that. And after that, we'll be doing analysis. And the analysis will be done on the county level, on the national level. We'll be able to produce poverty estimates for Liberia by county. So we'll be able to compare various counties in terms of levels of poverty and what interventions we can make over the years. Unfortunately, this survey is at the very first year of the REST agenda for inclusive development. So it means the results that we generate from this survey can be used as baseline figures to be able to for the next 5 years. Beyond that, we have reached the end of the 5 years period to conduct the Liberia Demographic and Health Survey. We will be reaching out to the Ministry of Health on this because health indicators are very much essential for ensuring a robust health system. So we are trying to bore you with a lot of data. And I know, especially this is my first encounter after several years, because some years back when I was Assistant Minister of Statistics at the Ministry of Labor, we came here to present the result of the 2010 Labor Force Survey, especially the labor market measures. And I think Matthew Nephew was one person I interviewed with. I'm proud, I have a photo. Yeah, so it is a great opportunity to be before members of the full estate. And there are much to be discussed, but because of time and because we have a lot of preparatory work to be done at the legislative office. So thank you for coming, and thank you, members of the MICAT team, for this opportunity. Thank you very much. Okay.
So folks would like to say thanks so kindly for watching. This is LB Online Television. That was the voice of the Director General of Legis. Here at the Ministry of Information, Culture, Affairs and Tourism, regular face press briefing. My name is Juan. Present. Would you join us on next Tuesday for another edition of this program?
Please.